Welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on Scraptember, day number 16. Today's prompt is a cut file. I don't know how well you can see it, but this is my cut file. This is from my Cameo, so I haven't pulled it off yet. I have a piece of 12 by 12 craft cardstock and a whole bunch of Vicki Boutin's Fernwood, as well as a Simple Stories 6x8 paper pad. This is from Simple Vintage Great Escape. I'm not sure if any of those things I'm going to use from the paper pad, but my goal is to go ahead and back this paper or this cut file off camera and get it ready to put the layout together. I don't think that you need to watch me tracing and cutting out all of the little pieces for this. So these are the photos that I chose. I did print more than I needed simply because I didn't want to leave a blank spot on the paper, and I'm hoping to use this film strip on here for the photos as a frame. So I'll be right back. I'm going to get started with a little bit of mixed media on the cut file, and then when I come back, we'll be ready to go. Be right back. All right, I left the cut file on my Cameo mat because I knew I was going to be inking this cut file. I did use some washi tape to go ahead and mask off the tree so that I wouldn't get too much of the brown where I wanted it to be green. I do have to lift it up here because dummy me actually covered up part of the E, and that's not what I meant to do, so I ended up just taking it off, and I'm going to have to be very, very careful around that area. I don't mind getting a little bit on the tree because, of course, trees have brown trunks, and I'm using Scraptember, which is one of Tim Holtz's newest colors. This is a lovely, lovely brown. I really do love how this brown looks with the cut file, and I love how this layout turns out in the end. Now, I did mention already that I am not planning on backing the cut file on camera. Basically, all I do is I flip the cut file over, flip the pattern paper that I'm going to be using over, trace on the back, cut it out, and glue it down. And I just kind of do that over and over and over until I've filled in the cut file in the manner that I want. Now, initially, the circle part of this, I thought that I was just going to put plain pattern paper back there, but I ended up using a piece from the Simple Stories 6x8 paper pad instead that works out just perfectly, in my opinion, for this cut file. So I have this humongous cut file as my title, and then I'm going to have a smaller title inside that circle. It does mean that I have to change up how I'm planning to do the layout, but that's okay. Everything works out perfectly. Now, I don't know if you saw, I just realized as I was doing the green that I forgot to do the entire circle. So I'll have to go back and get that on there as well. And, you know, silly me. But it doesn't take too much time to get it on there. And I apologize if you hear the weather in the background. I have a storm rolling in. It is thundering and lightning, and I'm sorry if you can hear that in the background. I also have a kitten who is acting nuts, and so if you hear skittering in the background, that's Phineas. Say hello, Phineas. He is running around like a crazy kitten, doing his kitten things. So next, I am just going to start putting this together. Now, you'll notice that my cut file now has another tree shadowing the cut file version of the tree, and that's because yours truly goofed up and accidentally traced on the front side of the paper for that tree and ended up with the negative, and it didn't work, and I didn't want to use the back side. So I just used it to shadow this cut file, and I think it works out really well. I do love this pattern paper that I used, and I was intending on using the scraps from Fernwood, and none of them were really big enough to fill in this cut file. So I didn't use a single fernwood scrap, and in the end I don't use a whole lot of embellishment either, because the cut file is basically a title as well as embellishment, and I don't want to overwhelm somebody when you go in to look at the layout. This layout will be the first page of a 2-page layout. You will get to see me create page 2 later this month, I think in conjunction with Mad About Mini paper pads. I believe the Scraptember prompt for that day is a 6x6 paper pad. I do hope that a 6x8 paper pad is okay, because that is what I'm going to be using for that hop. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just adding splatters in different colors on my layout. I don't have a whole lot of the Distress Oxide in green. I was really hoping that I had Rustic Wilderness in green, or in the spray, and I don't. And I know I could have used my ink pad to do it, but I was kind of in a hurry and just grabbed what was available. So now I am going to finish putting together the layout. I did use Barely Art glue to glue that film strip frame on these photos. I loved that the frame fit these photos perfectly, and I know they're teeny tiny, but page 2 will have some larger photos on it, and that'll make up for the teeny tiny of these. But I'm really enjoying this cut file. I haven't used a cut file like this before. I'm not sure where this one came from. I know it was in my Silhouette software, but it may have been something I purchased outside of Silhouette, maybe from Copa or other places, but I'm not real sure. If I can figure out where it came from, I'll put a link down below so that you can grab it as well. And like I said, I'm not going to embellish a whole lot here. I put the chipboard Dragonfly from Fernwood on top of that Simple Stories pattern paper, and you know what? It looks like it goes there. That's crazy. All right, I got this layout completely done. I know I did a lot of it off camera, but for the most part, for a cut file such as this, you just flip it over, you trace on the back side of the pattern paper that you're going to use, and then you glue it down. For me, I don't always get it perfect, so I do have to go in and cut out little edges and stuff as I go. It takes quite a bit of time, and I just really didn't think that you needed to see that whole process. As far as the film strip goes, at the beginning of the video I showed you it was a film strip with 5 holes. I ended up doing something that I didn't intend to do. I had originally thought that I was going to put just a plain piece of pattern paper here and then put the film strip all the way across and call that done. But when I saw that this would fit so well right here, that quote, I used that instead, and then that meant that I needed to cut down my film strip. So what I did is I cut it down here to where it's going off the page so that I would have a full frame down on the bottom, and it worked out perfectly. It housed those photos perfectly. I still have these left over, and that's good because this is going to be page 1 of a double page layout. And ironically, I did not use any of the Fernwood papers. None of my scraps were really big enough to get all of the words, and so I just set them aside, and I'll have to try again another time. I still have a ton of leftover embellishments though, so but page 2 will probably come for Mad About Mini paper pads possibly, so be looking forward to that one. I will do that one with the Scraptember prompt that day as well if it fits. If not, then there might be 2 videos that day, but I am pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I really appreciate all of you being here today. If you enjoyed this video and you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber, don't forget to hit like, because that helps grow my channel and I really appreciate that. Also, there is a playlist down below. Please click on that playlist. There are so many creatives in this hop. You will be amazed at the inspiration that you receive. And I really hope that you enjoy watching the hop. So much fun. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.